My name is Scott Lewer. I'm the Global Vice President of Market Strategy and Growth at Sitecore. I'm a noob, though. I've only been at Sitecore. I just joined in the last year, um, but I've been following Sitecore since about 2009. I was an industry analyst running a company called Digital Clarity Group that you might have, maybe you've heard of, maybe you have not. But I've probably done, I don't know, 40-ish different consulting contracts with Sitecore over the years where I was getting paid a fair bit of money for advice that they never took. So it's nice now to be on the inside and actually have to be listened to. Um, so at DCG, one of the things that we did is we helped a lot of companies, probably, I think maybe 200 brands over the course of the last 12 years or so, to basically select technologies. A lot of web content management then become customer experience management, now digital experience management technologies over the course of the years. But our MO was that we never selected a technology without selecting a partner. Because for us, I always felt like that's the most important part. The people who are doing the implementations are the key to success. And I would tell my customers all the time that you can have a mediocre technology with a great team of implementers and have success, but the reverse is not true. You cannot have a mediocre team and a great technology and have the same result. It just won't work. So the folks, you guys in this room, whether you're a customer, you're a marketer, you're a developer, you're a partner, we appreciate you. I've always appreciated you, even from the outside, as I was watching this space. Why did I choose to join Sitecore, though? So I've been facilitating the PAC, the Partner Advisory Council for Sitecore, for a number of years as a third-party person who would come in and run that. And it just so happened that around this time last year, we held one in London, and that was the time that Eric Stein took the helm on that very day, in fact. So I spoke with him and I said, I think I might be able to help you guys a little bit. And that began a consulting arrangement where I was working with them. And while working with Eric and the rest of the ELT, I was super, super impressed with that group. I truly think, and I think I've worked with every ELT over time since back to Michael Seifert's days. I was truly impressed with them, and I think we've got the best group of leaders that this company has ever had since then. So I was really impressed with them. The second thing, though, is watching the headwinds. So as an industry analyst, I was like, well, who's kind of got the best ability to succeed here? So maybe I won't mention any competitor names, but there might be a certain creative company that has a capital letter for their logo, which isn't very creative, who, when I look at what AI is doing in terms of disrupting them, and I think about creativity tools, which is where they get the most of their money, I see that disrupting it and basically taking that away. I don't know that I necessarily need to use those tools anymore when I can prompt my way to a video or to the creation of a video. So I found like, that's going to be a hard one. I don't know that I would go there. Then I look at another competitor, let's call him Little Bro. They might have a very loud CEO on LinkedIn. They work in the experimentation business and the targeting business, and we look at what's happening to discovery and how all that's happening now by the LLMs, who knows exactly what it is that you want. They know how to tailor. I think a lot of that targeting is going to happen there. So I think that's a bit disruptive. But when I look at our business, when I look at Sitecore, whose core they understand it to be content, I see content exploding. I see AI accelerating and necessitating content management, content governance over the course of the year. So to me, this was the horse to ride. But this is the room at SUGCON where the conversations happen. And I don't just see here a great community, but I truly see this as a strategic advantage, as Sitecore's strategic moat. So quite a bit has happened since Symposium. It's pretty interesting that a company actually delivered on what they said that they would deliver coming out of there. SitecoreAI is live now for all XM Cloud users. Um, XM Cloud users got upgraded for free, no extra cost, on our unified CMS, DAM, CDP, personalized, where all that comes together in our new SitecoreAI Cloud platform. We also launched Studio. So as an industry watcher, I was really concerned about Sitecore for a number of years. The reason why is because you all know this, I don't have to tell you, XMXP were platforms that were probably the most extendable in the space. every customer was able to deliver on those, to build on those, to innovate on those, to customize and tailor those by working with their partners and with their teams to be able to make them do exactly what they wanted to do. But what was an amazing thing about them also became Sitecore's disadvantage as they saw that they really wanted to modernize and that the future would be in SaaS, but that became their biggest difficulty, right? Was trying to get a bunch of customers who had been innovating on their platform to try to get them to shift over to SaaS, which is one size fits most, where you couldn't do any of that and you couldn't bring along that along with you. So that was a huge issue, I think, for them for the longest time. And Studio is the answer to that problem. Studio is where you can extend the platform and you can bring all that customization and all those innovations into the cloud. And so that I think was a huge, huge deal for this company moving forward. And we're empowering our users. So it's not just a platform that shipped and then went quiet, but we've actually had more than 60 different releases to include profiles, identity resolution, affinity, search features, lots and lots of other things that have come, along with Agentic Studio, which is where we've got more than 20 agents that have been developed and shipped, along with those that you can build on your own to power things like campaigns creation, content creation, personalization, all of those things in the cloud via our Agentic Studio. It really is the flywheel of innovation. And we're making strides all over the world. So if you look, SitecoreAI deployed in Singapore, expanding our sovereign cloud across all of Asia, and coming up next is the UAE and Saudi Arabia, where if you're in a regulated industry, data residency markets, this stuff really, really matters enormously. And so I think the world is really paying attention and we're really showing up in a big way there. We've been on the road a lot. So if you followed our city tours, we've been in Tokyo, Melbourne, Amsterdam, Singapore, London, and then coming up, we've got Boston, Chicago, and Copenhagen. And I'll come back to Copenhagen in just a second. They're a little smaller environment where we have honest, useful, actionable conversations. And if you haven't been to a city tour, then I'd suggest you try to make one either this year or in the coming years. They're really great. But this is where it all happens. You can say, is it correlation or causation that we started winning as soon as I joined? I don't know. But I will say we were super proud to win to be a leader in the Forrester Wave. Immediately coming out of our symposium conference, we were awarded this. The greatest thing about this is that through the course of the RFQ process for Forrester, we were not able to talk to them about SitecoreAI at all. So actually we won that award, even though it came after the launch based on our products prior to the launch of SitecoreAI, which is really important and really critical. So I think we're going to continue to perform really well there. You might have heard of the CMS Critic Awards. We've been making a really big deal out of those. You got us those awards. Dave Tilbury, our COO, sent me an email and he said, so are we going to win some of these CMS Critic Awards? And I was like, we are now, absolutely. So I know Matt Garapi, who runs CMS Critic, and maybe you've been to that website. It's a small site. It's not the biggest award in the world, but I think what it means is that we were able to reach out. I asked Tomas, can we reach out to the community? To Sean, can we go out to social? Can we get out? Can we activate this strategic advantage that we have in our community and get them to help us with these? So not only were we nominated for 8 different awards, but we were also won every single one of those in a clean sweep, which is pretty awesome. So nice momentum there. Then G2, which are true reviews, right, are coming in all over the place from our customers and our partners, giving us great awards. One of them was a momentum award, where we were literally, if you go look at that quadrant, we're literally furthest up and to the right out of everybody. I think we're in the top 1% of all customers that are rated on G2 based on our user reviews that you guys have really helped. Where's Nicole? Nicole, you're in the room somewhere. Nicole's in the back there. Thank you to Nicole. She's been asking for reviews. By the way, she's here because if you'd like to give us a review, you can please see Nicole and she'd be happy to help you do that. And then most recently, the Gartner MQ for content marketing platforms. We are really proud of this, not only because it's just another leadership award for us, but also because we were recognized as being the most visionary on according to them. And so that's really key for us because we talk about tailoring our product to marketers, and this, the content marketing platform, is the most marketer used portion of our platform. So we're really proud of that as well. So lots of momentum, as I said. We launched two things. What's that? Sorry. I said, look at that handsome guy. Exactly. Look at him. Um, we launch two times a year, as you know. So we have the symposium launch, and our second major launch of the year is the spring launch. That's coming up next month on May 14th. And the MVPs in the room know that they get a global MVP event that will happen a couple of days later. And the rest of our partners will be enabled the day before. So that's coming up really soon. We have a panel following me as soon as I stop talking. We can get Rue up here, and I'm sure you guys will want to know a little bit about what might be coming. Maybe you can get a sneak peek into that too. From a customer standpoint, this is, I think, what we're the most proud of, right? So looking after the announcement of SitecoreAI Symposium, since then, we've signed more than 300 customers onto the new platform. That's huge for us. So you've seen probably, if you're following us, this drumbeat that Sean has created of customers who have raised their hands and said, I'll shoot a video for you. I'll do a post with you. I'll do a press release with you. And they're willing to stand up and say that they chose Sitecore to build their business on. That's really, really meaningful to us. And that's happening more and more. So we're really psyched to see that. Okay. In our community, we have in this room attendees from more than 30 different countries today, from 80 different customers and partners. And we are really excited to be with all of you this week. We have beyond today, we've got more than 30,000 active users in community members in Sitecore's community across developer channels and public forums. So there's this huge force there. We have more than 100 user groups globally who host more than 300 different events around the world. I think that's huge, especially as you think of in the AI era. Oftentimes, when you think about a community, you think about an online forum where I can go answer, ask a question. Certainly that is the case, and that's really helpful to have it. But I think AI starts to disrupt that a little bit, where now you can get a more even immediate answer in the future. But it's the physical presence of actual user groups of people who actually get together and host across these 300 different events over the course of the year that I really think is where it all happens. So I used to say as an analyst that I thought that the Sitecore community was like the second most engaged community next to Drupal. Sorry, that's what I used to say. But then I actually learned what an MVP was. I used to assume that an MVP, without really looking into it, that it was some sort of a certification when you knew a whole lot. And then I realized it's community members that compete with each other to see who can post the most about Sitecore. Like, I don't know what Tomas has over all of you, but that's pretty amazing that he gets you guys to all do that. So if you are a 2026 MVP, can you please stand up and be recognized? It's really awesome. We had more than 200, thank you so much. We had more than 214 MVPs selected this year. 48 of you are here in this room. More than 20% of our MVPs for the first time were women, which we're really proud of. I think that's pretty awesome. And I think the place where this is starting to pay off for us the most in terms of like where we're going and the success that we're seeing, certainly we're getting recognition for the platform, and that's wonderful. But when you think about the world of AI and AEO, GEO, right? The way that it works is for a company like ours, for example, you're a B2B software company. And what they say is in order to determine who's showing up on some questions and some prompts about that, about 35% of that is based on the most uh, what do you call them? The foresters and gardeners and what they're saying about you. That composes about a third of whether you show up or not and how you show up. So that's a big portion of it. The second most important portion is on user reviews. So that's huge. And you guys in this community are a big part of helping us with that. And then the third, last point is what's being said about you, what's being written about you on blogs, what's being written about you on LinkedIn, what's being posted about you on LinkedIn, on Reddit, uh, videos on YouTube, that sort of content with the size of the community that we have, that's why we're starting to show up so well. And so that's really based on all of you guys and all of your work. I was super excited to be here. My wife asked me before I left, she said, "What's the difference between SUGCON and symposium? Like, what are those two things?" And I said, "Well, symposium is where we go tell about how we're going to build, what we're going to go build in the world. And SUGCON is the people we talk to the people who are going to go build it. So I think that's really, really, really key. So just thinking about this learning, there's just lots of places. Where's um, uh, Deanna? Where is Deanna? Are you here? Deanna's here, I thought. No, maybe she is around somewhere, but maybe she's just not in here. Deanna is here. For those of you who came and wanted to get certified, you can do that here. I really think that's huge. You guys are the virtual bench for every Sitecore customer around the world, and the more that you know, the better that we'll do. Um, we have a lot of Agentic Studio onboarding. You might have seen every Thursday we have an Agentic, we call it Agentic Thursdays, where we've been putting out videos to teach folks about some of the the agents that we have available. And we've got in our marketplace, you guys have built more than 710 different custom applications that are available today on the marketplace. So those are in the private marketplace. Of those, 60 of them are available in the public marketplace. So you can build those and deploy those for your customers. You can build those and essentially white label for an industry that you work with and use repeatable extensions. And that all has been happening even just since the launch. So this real kind of flywheel of innovation. So today, I'm going to get off the stage. We're going to pull up and have a nice panel for you. You've got more than 30 different sessions that you can attend while you're here. You can get the certifications on site, like I mentioned. And then tonight, we all know that at these events, where the magic happens is in the hallway conversations at dinner time. So we've got a great dinner and event for you this evening. Does anybody know what this is? Oh, see the chuckles? You guys actually do know. This is the wrong room to tell this story to. I think would go over much better in symposium. Okay, well, if you don't know, this is a lighthouse in Carlsberg district in Copenhagen. Maybe I can tell you a little bit more of the story. I'm not sure. In 1883, um, this lighthouse was built at the Carlsberg Brewery. And the brewery, ironically, or maybe not so ironically, was the first part of Carlsberg to actually get electricity. So they built the lighthouse there. Um, and so, no, my story's better, bro. Oh, man. Okay, well, here's the punchline. So, from the very beginning, Sitecore was meant to be the thing that helps you see the light, see the path, and see where you're going. Or maybe it's just the thing that tells you where the bar is, one or the other. In any case, see, you messed up my whole thing. Here we go. 25 years of Sitecore. We are starting, I don't know if you realized, but back in 2001 is when Sitecore was founded. 1998, actually, 5 different Copenhagen graduates were building and managing websites. One of them got really sick and tired of building the same thing over and over again. So he developed the first code for the first version of Sitecore. The company was spun off in 2001, and 25 years later, here we are. So our anniversary, if you didn't know, is in 10 days on April 26th. And so we are kicking off our silver season with you here at this event. No better place to do it. So, let's see. Oh, I'm going to skip this. So before I hand things over, I just want to quickly take a moment, thank all the sponsors that made SUGCON possible. Most explicitly, let me call out Assembly and Reply Canvas, our gold sponsors. Can we give them a round of applause, please? These guys have put real investment behind this community, and that really means something to us. So thank you so much. And to Vercel, our technology sponsor, can we give Vercel a round of applause, please? A lot of you know well, they've been a meaningful part of this ecosystem. So thank you. Thank you to all of our sponsors. SUGCON doesn't happen without you. And this community doesn't thrive without partners who really believe in it enough to put their names behind it. We appreciate all of you. And now we will turn over to a panel that's going to be facilitated by Sean Broderick, who's going to come up. Sean is our Senior Director of Customer and Community. You all know him, I'm sure. Jackie Baxter is going to come up. Jackie is our Director of Digital Strategy. I want a round of applause. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And Rue Berry, our Vice President of Product Management. Woo. Yep. I'll kick us with Rue go there. Thank you, Scott. Yeah.
I think it's probably fair to say we're probably the best DXP on the market. Any
Yeah,
Carlsberg fans in the house? No?
absolutely.
Rue, I'm going to start with you. Since Symposium, I think it's fair to say a lot has changed. But aside from the messaging, what can people do now with Sitecore AI that they couldn't do 6 months ago?
They can log into it. And that was problem number one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've done a lot since Symposium. We made some pretty big promises, and then everyone went home and they all had a nice, relaxing time. And then 7 days after Eric stood on stage and said Sitecore AI is going to be a thing next week, we went back home and we didn't relax. We kept on pushing, and then a week later we released Sitecore AI. So since then, I think you've mentioned hundreds of customers have moved over, which has been fantastic. We've also had Agentic Studio. I think we've had 2 additional releases of Agentic Studio in February and then in March as well, further expanding the capabilities of there. Big thank you to everyone who came in, found issues, highlighted issues, told us about the issues. We always love to hear those. And I think we made some pretty significant strides to improve that kind of process. Beyond that, like on a day-to-day basis, over 30% of our customers are using AI, the AI that we provide, the generative AI capabilities we provide in their day-to-day operations. Um, I didn't think it would be that much, if I'm honest. I think the adoption of AI, particularly in enterprise companies, is quite limited normally. And I think people's creation of brand kits, the use of things like translation, the AEO, GEO capabilities, all of those capabilities that have been there to be able to for people to use, they're using them at a much higher rate than I thought they would be. We've still got a long way to go, and I think the adoption has been very good so far. But thank you very much for jumping in, pressure testing it, and letting us know what you thought. It was really appreciated.
Yeah, well, that's one thing this community will do is tell us when we're wrong, particularly when it comes to lighthouses or anything to do with
Yeah, right.
Denmark or yeah,
Said that guy.
yeah. One more for you, I think, before we go to Scott and to Jackie. I spoke to Martin Miles earlier on, and he's moving to Las Vegas. And I'm not sure if he's a gambling guy. He doesn't strike me as a gambler, but when it comes to AI, how would you characterize Sitecore's bet when it comes to how we're going to use it and how we're going to deploy AI in the future?
We're not moving to Vegas.
Ah,
Yeah, didn't categorically deny that. Um, I would be a fool to sit up here and tell you what the future of the internet looks like. Um, but I don't know what a website might look like in the future. But what I do know with all the signals that we're seeing is that structured content is going to be the driver of the vast majority of what's required. And so when we look at it, we talk about it various, but like over 90% of AI interactions don't result in a website click.
mm,
And if you think about that, like over 25, I think percent of Google review or responses contain some kind of overview or summary. Um, and so whether someone comes to a website or not, I think is going to change. That we know is probably going to be the case. Um, but what is required is well structured, available, well sourced content, and that's something luckily we're pretty good at, and we provide the tools to be able to do that. So um, that I think is where our bet is that the thing that has got us here is also going to be the thing that gets us into the future, and that is content and well providing the tools for these people in the room to create, manage, distribute, author well structured content.
there you go. Thanks, Rue. Scott, one for you. You mentioned your analyst background looking in at Sitecore, and you've told the momentum story, I think, really well and everything that we're seeing in the marketplace. I'm gonna put my Paxman hat on here when I'm in London. Like, how real is that momentum story? What's the meat behind everything that we're seeing here? Folks in the room, slides on a page.
Look, I think we're seeing it. I mean, it is a real story. Everybody knows, like Ruth says, how the use of the web is changing. We've seen that happen significantly. We're seeing everybody's seeing their traffic drop off, right? Google has talked about the future of their LLM might be where they're going to basically be able to build up an experience for you right within the moment. So I think the use of websites probably starts to be a little bit less emphasis on usability and navigability of it, and more just purely about the content, like Ru said, in a structured way. So I think the thing about that though is one says, oh, well, then if websites are less important, then platforms that make websites are less important. And I don't think that that's true at all. I think that in that future, while maybe we're going to interface with content more through an LLM or some other intermediary, but I think it's even more important. That's actually that notion, the fact that we can track that, that you can use a profound and you can find out how you're being sought, whether you're coming up, whether you're being cited, what you're being cited for, what queries are being run that are relevant to you and to your competitors. All of that is just creating the need to go and create more and better structured content so you show up in those searches and in those conversations. So I think it's actually necessitating and amplifying even more some of the things that we do. I don't see any way around that,
Yeah.
for sure.
And what are you seeing here? We've obviously got a lot of partners in the room with a lot of customers actually, and people here mightn't actually recognize, but over 30% of the folks in the room today are actually customers.
Mhm.
And that's a record for a SUGCON, which I think shows that momentum. What can you peel back the curtain a little bit on deals, momentum that we're seeing in the market right now?
Well, one thing that I can say to you is that being, from an outsider, I felt like for a while the brand was starting to really fall off. I felt like you guys were getting picked on. I felt like who was around in the Ektron days? All the vendors used to like go and say like, "Oh, give me the Ektron client list," because they all used to want to go pick them off. And I felt like Sitecore was starting to be that whipping boy.
Mm,
But now we don't see that anymore. And now that I get to look on the inside, I see us winning those deals now. I don't see us getting picked on anymore. I think I see if you look at we just had QBRs yesterday, in fact, and you're looking at the momentum, it's significant. So not only are the customers that are picking us willing to stand up and say they did so,
yeah.
but there's an awful lot more out there. We're getting pulled into deals now. I mean, look at no shade, but like the help by the analyst has been really significant. We're getting pulled into an awful lot of deals that we might not have been pulled into before, for
Yeah.
sure.
Love it. Jackie, as someone who looks after digital experience and content at AI, at Sitecore, you're one of our key users of Sitecore AI. How are you using Sitecore AI day to day to improve your life as an incredible marketer who gets standing ovations as you walk on stage?
So kind. And I only had to ask once, which was great. Fun. I am specifically using it to do all the stuff I don't want to. And it's great. There are a lot of things that roll across a marketing team's desk, and I'll use ABM marketing as an example. When someone on the sales team or someone on the revenue marketing team comes to you and says, "We have an ABM campaign, there's 100 clients, we need a page for each one of them." Like, cool, I didn't need a weekend. That's fine. I'll just roll through and do it. Thanks to, I think a lot of you know Derek Hunziker, who I'm pretty convinced can make Sitecore do anything up to and including possibly my laundry if I gave him enough time. And he created in SitecoreAI an ABM agent for us that can not only personalize the page for each client, but can also dynamically update as we have newer content that we think will reach that client list better. The amount of time that that has saved us, and more significantly, perhaps the amount of stress it has taken off of my team,
Mm.
because those are the kind of tasks that everybody knows how to do, but everybody's kind of looking for the person behind them, being like, who can I throw under this bus so that I don't have to do it myself? And there are other, come to my session tomorrow if you want to hear about more of these little tips and tricks. Shameless plug. There are a few more of those items that we're integrating into our workflows that also like not only help us work faster, work more productively, but also help build the reputation of Sitecore AI so that as we partner with the product team, we can say to them, hey, this works wonderfully. Please do more of this. Or in my case, I broke it. Was I supposed to be able to do that? And usually get back that no.
Yeah.
Walk us through how that happened.
Yeah, I love that ability for us to be our own best customer, marketing tools for great marketers such as yourself. Rue, we talk a lot about since Symposium, Agentic Studio, Sitecore AI, custom SaaS, custom apps. What's the one area that you think customers are going to see the most benefit in the future from all of these tools?
Um, I think where we start to see these things really start to diverge when we talk about like content. Um, I think Google recently had a report, that the core update report, and they were looking at penalizing people who are just generating content that is AI slop, and really starting to look at penalizing them, rewarding people who are like well cited, who have got well sourced content. And so when we talk about content, I think content is very important. more content isn't necessarily better. And I think when people start to generate agents, or they use agents, or they're using agentic and they're using it to generate content, I don't think more content is the game. Citation is the game, to Scott's point. And citation comes from content, but it doesn't come from the content that you might think it comes from. LLMs, they hate HTML. It makes no sense to them, and it's expensive. So the token usage of looking at a web page is actually really, really expensive. And so content that is consumable, understandable by a crawler or by a training bot, really starts to help you understand how you then become kind of how you improve your citation. Then to Scott's point, you then start looking at citations. So the AI stuff that we're talking about and people like getting in and using it, I'm really looking forward to people coming in and looking at not just web pages, but content in general, and how to create content that is going to help them improve their citations.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback a little bit. Shameless plug, I'll do since we're doing shameless plugs now. Wrote an article in CMS Wire that published, I think, last week, where we're doing a study ourselves on the notion of digital authenticity, right? And so we wanted to go out and ask folks what they felt about brands that are using AI and brands that are like, how well are they, how authentic are they being? And at first, I kind of had this assumption because my LinkedIn, like yours, is full of a bunch of AI slop that I just pass through and through. I see a lot of hyphens, and I just keep scrolling, and it's annoying. So I think we've kind of come to have this sixth sense of like, okay, this isn't a human writing it, and so therefore, if they can't put the energy into writing it, I don't need to put the energy into reading it. Right? That's how you feel. But I think as we get better and better, right now, that sloppiness is because of a lack of just care about it. Right? But I think that, and so the pendulum is swung to one side. I think at some point it'll land in the middle where brands are going to start to be able to learn to use AI to sound even more authentic. As odd as that sounds, if you think about it, from the time you have a founder found a company and then you get to the point where you've got a marketing team of 100, how can you have an authentic voice with 100 different humans doing marketing on behalf of that company? You lose your voice slowly over time. With AI, it actually can allow you to have that brand voice. You can have those instructions in there to allow it to be able to kind of stay within that purview, where now everything that you communicate can be actually confounded within that brand voice that you need to have. And so while it's artificial, you can actually sound a lot more authentic at scale where you couldn't really do that with humans before when you start learning how to use it right.
Yeah. Does that mean we can still use LL Cool J lyrics as the basis
Don't
of
call it a comeback, bait.
Absolutely, we're talking.
Absolutely.
Jackie, you mentioned your session on Friday tomorrow, all about intelligent content. But when it comes to how folks are actually using that content, what's the one biggest mistake that you see in that space right now?
I would really recommend that you actually look at your content, which sounds like the most basic thing in the universe, but it has been my lived experience through a couple of companies and working with several others that content oftentimes is a sort of, we wrote it and we're done and we just move on. I think the kind of, I'm not sure, is this triangle, the people process platform triangle is still a thing? I think people focus a lot on platform. They focus a lot on, is there a technology that can help me do this? Is there a technology that can help me do this better? And the answer is almost inevitably yes. But you can't forget the people who make it happen and the process that is necessary in order to keep that robust. As Rue said, structured content is going to become more important than ever. I would be willing to bet, well, I don't really carry cash anymore, but however much cash is in my wallet, that everyone in this room has at least 1 or 2 pages on their website that does not have the JSON schema markup on it. Because when that content was written, you didn't need JSON schema markup. And so what we've found as we've sort of been diving into the data and looking at how are we being cited, the stuff that's popping up, I'm like, I didn't even realize that was somewhere on the website. And we've done 3 rounds of content audit in the last 18 months. So we're in the middle of another content audit because I do think figuring out, are you saying what you want to be saying? Because those LLMs are going to go into the deepest, darkest corner of your website and surface something that you don't remember saying and that might not be true anymore. So taking a long, hard look at your content, I think is the most important thing that anyone can do in order to give themselves a leg up as they start to do the JSON schema markup, because that takes a long time,
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Yeah. Don't miss Jackie's session tomorrow. I've seen her present multiple times. It is must-see TV at all times. What I would say,
Need to be here.
yeah, I know.
Got my hype man here.
Rue, we have a spring release coming up mid-May. Scott plugged it a little bit earlier, but the people in this room want spoilers, and we want to give the people what they want. What can you tell us about what's coming up in May without Kelly and Chris and all the folks in product marketing killing you for breaking all of their news for them?
If people could just keep an eye on a red dot that might appear somewhere around my body or my head while I'm talking, that'd be amazing. I don't think I can talk about too much, but I think we've talked internally a lot about kind of themes of work, and so I'll point to themes of work. So we've talked about discoverability. I don't think that's going to be a surprise. That is going to be in there. We've talked about the ability for conversion, and when people do come to your site, ensuring that they convert, and that's around the digital experience that you deliver. And I think you're going to see a ton of capability coming there. We also said we were going to do a lot of things at Symposium. You may or may not hear some of those things are now in GA or about to go into GA. Those are always exciting. And we're going to talk about orchestration and how we're going to be supporting marketers do their day-to-day job. Those are the kind of three main themes. I don't think I'm giving away too much in that.
Yeah.
There might also be one or two other things that they'll also talk about that I'm not allowed to talk about. But I think it's coming up. I think it's in 14th of May.
Yeah.
Please do sign up and be interested and be involved. And as always, please give me feedback. If it's only Jackie that's coming and telling me that the product doesn't work properly in the way that she thinks she might have broken it, that'd be a disaster. So I always rely on these people in the room to come and help us out there as well. But some relatively big things coming and exciting things coming.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see that momentum continue to build. Scott, as we kind of round third here, I've one topic I think that's going to be top of a lot of people's mind here in the room is you mentioned the CMP Gartner furthest right for completeness of vision.
Yeah.
Back in that leader quadrant. November comes the big one for us, which is the Gartner DXP Magic Quadrant.
Yeah.
What does the path look like between now and November to get us back where we belong?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it'll be the first evaluation of SitecoreAI in its totality, right? It'll be the first evaluation of that, which across the analysts, which we're really excited about. We feel really good going into it because just if you're a nerd like me and kind of watch how the analysts work, CMP is actually one part of the same group that falls under DXP. So it's a really good sign that we've already been rated pretty highly by that particular analyst, who also, by the way, will be on this one. But I think one of the most important things is the way that Gartner is shifting the way that they work. So it used to just be a person at a laptop who would ask you to demo the product and talk to you a little bit about it. You could fool them or not, right? And then that's kind of basically how it worked. Then they'd rate you. Everybody decides what good is, and they rate you accordingly. Now, though, Gartner is really starting to depend on and look to GPI, or Gartner Peer Insights. So that's their own review system, which are pretty extensive reviews. If you go do a Gartner Peer Insight, this is not just a comment. This is pretty significant. You got to be a customer and got to be on the platform. So they're really looking to that now. So if there's a plea that I can make to the folks in the room, the more that you come through for us on GPI, and by the way, Nicole again is right there in the back. She can lead the way for you. The more that you can help us get some of those reviews in front of them and tell them what you think about the product, the more they hear from you, the more that helps to substantiate what they're seeing in front of them.
I love it. I love it. Well, Rue, Jackie, and Scott, thanks so much for your time. Give them a round of applause, everybody.
Thank you.
Your text.
Oh, wait. Sitecore selfie?
Yes.
Oh, they have.
Do a selfie.
Yeah. GDPR applies. You've all consented. Congrats.
Thanks, everybody. Scott, small little bit of business mind as well.
Sure.
The guys are going to get rid of the tables for us here. We got Tomas Varga in the room, I suspect we have. Tomas, come on up here for a second, will you? Give him a round of applause.
Yeah, so.
I got it. Yeah. So it's not going to be breaking news to anybody that the fulcrum of this entire community and one of the key architects of this room has been Tomas Parga. And his contribution over the years has been nothing short of stellar. And we wanted to recognize that today because Tomas is literally and figuratively sailing off into the sunset at the end of July. And I know everybody here in the room is going to miss him, but we wanted to mark your time at Sitecore with something special, which Scott is going to present to you now, which is a mariner's watch from Seiko, which is a Japanese timepiece of which impeccable engineering. It is dive depth of 200 meters in case you go overboard. It automatically updates from all the time zones. Really, really nice piece. And I know with your son going to university in Japan, you'll like that link as well. So I'll let Scott present you with that as well. And the final bow that we want to put on this presentation here for Tomas is Tomas, every year when it comes to MVP recommendations, he will say, you cannot be an MVP if you work for Sitecore. Even if you worked part of the year or previous years, you just cannot be that. So when Tomas leaves us at the end of July, immediately, once he sails off into the sunset, he will become an honorary MVP, and there's no one more richly deserved. So I think a standing ovation is in order. Everybody, thank you.
I did for my seat. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, everybody.
Do you want to say a few words?
I don't have a mic, luckily.
You're speaking
We gotta
highly in someone.
Oh, just hold on for 1 second. David is going to get us a handheld here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And really, it's hard to say anything. I always considered myself as the luckiest person to have this job, to work with my friends in the community, with the MVPs. And yeah, leaving this job is not easy, but it's something that I really want someone else to experience it also. So yeah, thank you, everybody. I might sail off, but I will see you all around the globe. So if you live near to a marina, just let me know. I need to sail there. If not, I will have an open calendar, and all of you are invited on my boat anytime.
Thanks for that time.